Cheers! You made it this far. It's March 20th, 2020, and as I said in my previous video, I was gonna get the hell out of New York, and I sure as hell did. Now I'm somewhere in North Carolina, in a nice rural area, at least an hour away from a big city, and I'm here to check in on you. Things are getting pretty serious. It just keeps getting more serious, especially in New York City. And I saw this coming. That's why I needed to get out. The good news is there's still time for you to get out of New York City. The bridges are still not closed, so technically you can leave. Cuomo was quoted saying that he does value personal freedom, but he is locking down New York City bit by bit. Now, the only way you can, you're free to walk around on your own, but there's no gatherings. They're recommending no non-essential travel, so you can still, I guess, go to work and stuff, but most things are closed. Restaurants are closed. It's not looking too good in New York City. And even when I left, I told you that I was feeling it in the air. I was feeling this sense of unease. Society is very slowly starting to break down around the country. In Texas, you had some Asian people that were sliced up, their whole, like even a kid, the whole face sliced up. I believe it was Midland, Texas. And unfortunately, a lot of people are blaming the Chinese, immigrants and people that live in the United States. I would advise you to don't attack anybody. And a matter of fact, you shouldn't even be near anybody. You should be trying to stay away from people as much as possible, because the effects of the disease are real. Even if it doesn't kill you, you can end up in the ICU on a ventilator. And your lungs will get scarred up, and there's no telling whether you can catch it again. You probably can catch it again at some point, and it might kill you the second time. So if it doesn't mess you up, it might just weaken you a lot and really get you messed up. This one guy was talking about how he recovered from it, but while he had it, every time he tried to breathe, it felt like he was choking. So Cuomo is locking down New York State. California, they're locking down. They're telling people not to go outside. Meanwhile, in Florida, you got people still going to the beach. It's still spring break for them, and they're just casually spreading their infections. I saw one statistic that said 86% of those infected don't know they have it. I could probably have it right now. I have no idea. So we're doing the best we can to stay away. I've pretty much just been staying on a private property this whole time with family, with my girlfriend, and we're just trying to discourage everybody else from moving around. But here in the South, people are less worried. It's like going back in time a couple weeks when in New York, most people weren't worried, when people weren't scared shitless walking around with gloves on it. Everybody walking around with gloves and masks on all the time. You don't really see that here. You might see people like a little more, you might see some people a little nervous talking about it, maybe getting hand sanitizer, but you don't see people putting on gloves and all this stuff. People, for the most part out here, are still going about and doing their thing, but it's still having an economic impact. My cousin, who is an assistant electrician, has already seen a decline in jobs that he's able to do, and the economic impact is going to be huge. People are already saying we're in an economic recession as it is. It's looking like we're headed towards another Great Depression, unfortunately, and that's why the government is scrambling to figure out how they can pay off people, send people some money to try to stave off the societal breakdown, which inevitably will come once people find out that they have no more money and they're not getting food and things like that. it's looking like it's going down to the worst case, or one of the worser case scenarios. I have no faith that this will be resolved by April. That's when schools in New York City are currently set to come, to open up again. That's when a lot of people have planned to resume life as normal, is in April. But I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's not going to happen. I would love for it to happen. I would love to go back to New York City, get back to work, but I don't think that's going to happen. This is going to last anywhere from 3 months to 18 months when they finally have this vaccine ready. They do have some medicines that have been tried, like this malaria medicine that is effective against the virus. But unfortunately, with the bureaucracy we have here, with all these lovely three-letter agencies like the FDA, they're hesitant to pass that along for fear of getting sued, I guess. The U.S.-Mexico border finally has been closed to non-essential travel, and I bet a lot of you liberals would think that, maybe are surprised, like, this guy who's talked about building the wall has hesitated so long to close this border, which I feel, that's definitely something you want to do, because people cross all the time with all kinds of sicknesses and, tuberculosis and sexual diseases, things like that, STDs, that unfortunately make it over to this country. Not everybody that crosses the border is infected, but a lot of poor people that, come from places that don't have good health care, they come into this country and then they fall into the purview of our healthcare system. So there's this article, Newsweek, with the title, Inside the Military's Top Secret Plans If Coronavirus Cripples the Government. That came out a couple of days ago. The continuity of government. You need to look into that. You need to research that. They have measures in place that if the executive branch were to get infected, or, if government had to get shut down, that basically the military would take over. Not only that, something that which is not in the article, but it has been known to me that there is a backup government that is, this might be stepping into conspiracy territory or whatever, but I've looked into this a lot, even before this corona shit. And what I think is that they do have a backup government somewhere hidden, probably Mount Weather. Mount Weather comes up a lot in research if you look into that. The problem is with Google now, like they censor so much shit, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that you can't even find. I mean, you just take, for the biggest example, Alex Jones. You used to be able to type in Alex Jones and get all kinds of different results. Now you type it in and you only see negative stuff about him. You don't actually see much of like links to his site or other things. It's just like all these like old articles that basically try to slander him. So the big thing that's coming up is the unemployment. Like I said, I currently am unemployed. I will have to file for unemployment next week. I saw a statistic that 2 million will be applying next week. There's going to be a lot of people applying for unemployment. There's going to be a lot of people expecting checks from the government to help them, make it through this time. And I'm not too confident in their abilities to, pay so many people. Like, how much can you really expect? Maybe like $1,000. Like, we're talking about the vast majority of the economy here. A lot of the people that working part-time and like have to go outside to work, that's most of the people that have to go outside to work. And how much are you going to actually pay them? And how much is that going to add to the debt? They're already talking like a few $1 trillion for this stimulus for American citizens, and it's going to really, really hurt us for generations to come. We were already playing with fire with $23 trillion in debt, and now it seems like we're soon going to see $30 trillion in debt by the end of the year, and that just seems like a conservative number to me. If we're already after a couple weeks talking about a few trillion, I think by the end of this month you can bet on a $30 trillion US debt. people are saying, we won't know for a few months what the hit will be to the GDP, but this is the global depression that economists have been warning for some time. And you've got and another thing that has come up is that Netflix and YouTube, they've downgraded their resolution in Europe. So that's going to be a big thing if the internet gets affected from all the people being inside trying to stream and like get by on this thing during this epidemic. People are going to start going a little crazy. Like if they don't have their entertainment, people are spoiled. They're going to have to relearn how to sacrifice and really live off the land again and try to be self-sufficient. That's going to be the lesson we're going to have to learn here. And we might also have to learn that big cities are a bad idea, that we can't just depend on all these infrastructures and supply lines, that you're going to have more emergency measures in place. I also was reading an article that said that the federal government has been preparing for pandemics for the past couple administrations, and that when Trump said like this is going to be fine, that I don't anticipate this getting worse, like they've already done trainings at lower levels in government. Apparently higher levels in government, they didn't really get that informed on these measures, but they've been training for this. They've been practicing this, and they knew from the trainings that the infrastructure was not capable to deal with a pandemic such as this. I mean, how could you anticipate a virus that is novel, that you haven't seen anything like this before? So those are the news updates we've got today, and I've got another video coming where we can kind of speculate, what the heck is really this all about? What is behind this? What could be coming? We're gonna be going into more of a speculation mode in the next video. I just wanted to do this video to update you on what I'm doing and some of the news that's coming up and the kind of trajectory of where this is going. If you're in New York City or any other big city, I recommend you get the hell out. If you've got family in another state, now's the time to go before all the borders are shut down. They were talking about it earlier this week. They still didn't do it. They're doing actually a kind of a good thing, preparing us little by little for what's coming, so that you have time to prepare for it. It's kind of better than just shutting everything down all at once. But just look at Italy, look at Spain, how things have deteriorated over there and what they've been doing. It's like they're in the future. They're like a couple weeks ahead of where we will be eventually, right? And here down in the South, I'm a couple weeks in the past from where you are in the north in New York City. So it's time to get prepared, man. The gun sales are going up. It's time to get your protection ready. I'm gonna get some arrows for my bow and probably pick up a gun as well, and really just prepare for the worst. I came here with a bunch of supplies. We're gonna continue to stock up, continue to make sure that we have the things we need. I just rerouted a package from New York down here that's gonna bring even some more food, so hopefully that arrives. And just be safe. Supplies seem to be running scarce in New York City. They were running scarce when I was leaving. So you stock up, prepare for at least a few months. And summer's coming. Maybe you can start planning some stuff on the balcony or your backyard or whatever. If you're living in an apartment complex, it's time to talk to your neighbors, because you don't want that neighbor to be the one to stab you in the back for whatever the fuck you got. So if you have no choice but to stay in a densely populated area, make friends, show some value, be useful to other people, and they'll want to keep you around. I hate to say it, but there's a lot of gangs in New York and a lot of organized crime and things like that, and they're going to be the ones that's going to be running shit if emergency services is not available. So now's your time to get the fuck out of the city and find some place a little bit more space, a little bit away from big populations. You'll be safer. I feel a lot better that now that I'm here. I was stressed like crazy. The ride over here I was stressed like crazy. You know, I drove down here with my girl and her roommate. We dropped off the roommate, and like I ended up driving like 14 hours, you know, on Monday, and I finally got here at night. And you know, the couple days after that, I was kind of just chilling, trying to like, you know, get back to normal, catch up on sleep. And you know, we've had fights, me and my girlfriend. You know, we've been arguing, but you know, things have cooled down. Like this is gonna mess up a lot of people's relationships, and you know, a lot of people's you know, other stuff. Is you just got to be ready for it and do what you can to get out, and then figure it out from there. um, you know, life doesn't have to end here. We just have to be smart, and we just have to keep going. So just keep an eye out for my next video. I don't have any like video editing software available to me. Maybe I can find something on the phone, or maybe I can use my cousin's computer or something like that, or my girl's computer. I'm gonna try to figure something out to get you know, the same, you know, kind of style that I had before, with like cuts to different clips and things like that. Because right now it's just me freehanding it straight through. And I appreciate it if you watched this long, and just keep an eye out for the next video. Peace out, guys.